Did you ever feel stuck because you cannot generate IDs? Well, you feel stupid, right? Well, today, I felt like that up until I found something a couple years ago, and now I cannot stop generating IDs, and I cannot even sort them because everything looks crazy. So today we're gonna see how I do this system. My name is Tenkai, I'm 24 years old, and we're gonna see how I went from 0 ID to 100 plus IDs a month. So the first thing I have, in my opinion, to be able to, have these 20 to 30 IDs every single month, every single week, is there is a lot of things, but you need a system. You cannot just say, okay, I just walk around my park, I can just go walk around my park and I go and I will find IDs. That's not how it works. That's not possible. What you will need to do is to find a way where you can generate these IDs, so you can generate IDs, but also how you can keep them, and afterwards, once you can keep them, how you can, make something out of it. This is crazy. This is something most people cannot even think about. Sorry, my writing is not right. It's not great, but pretty much the idea is there. So the first thing I do personally when I want to do something and I want to have IDs, first thing first, you have to find IDs. Now, most people think I stay alone in my room and I think. Sometimes it will come, most of the time it won't. Most IDs come when you don't want it or when you're not waiting for IDs. Basically, you go walking with your dog. This is, for example, something that happens a lot to me, walking with dogs, and I'm like, okay, this is when I got some IDs. Then other times I'm watching something that I'm passionate about, reptiles, for example. This is a big thing for me, reptiles. I'm watching YouTube, for example. I'm watching a YouTube video and I find this, wow, I find, this thing, how the guy talks about on the camera, or, he says, oh yeah, there is something in the reptile hobby, for example, that is not wanted. You're like, huh, maybe I can find something on that. This is one thing. Another way that I've made the IDs, that I have been able to achieve to get IDs, is the following. Networking. So networking is a big thing. Why? Networking is what will make you basically brainstorm, because networking will give you brainstorming. And what I mean by networking, I'm not always meaning you need to meet top tier people. You don't need always to meet the best people on the planet. Just meet people that will think alike. Meet people that will think that, that will get you along the way, and that will say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Generating IDs is not only just a solo sport, it's also a group sport, a team sport. It's a team sport because maybe, you don't have IDs. Like me, for a very long time, I was not able to generate IDs, right? But what I could do is I take those IDs and I make them reality. Okay? This is a thing. You can also be like that. There are people like that. I know a lot of people like that. Now, if you want, to go from I can only make a reality and I want to make the IDs myself too, well, you need to think about it. How do people also that generate IDs do? How do they do? You ask questions. And how do you know what they do? You ask questions. And if you want to ask questions, you need to have the right people around you. Now, if you want to ask questions, you can always contact me, obviously, on tenkai.11 to have an ID, and we can chit chat and we can see what we can help you for on the longer term. Yeah. Now the system is this. Okay, you find your way, because everyone has a different way. You have multiple ways or you have one way. I know people, they only need to see with their eyes. They need to see something with their eyes. Boom, they get the ID. That's great. That's the most common thing I've seen myself. Sometimes it's through talking. And sometimes you cannot talk. You can talk about anything. You know, for example, I will be talking about reptiles with friends. You know, I'm at a reptile expo in Houghton Terraria, for example, and then I'll be like, shoot, I have something for my marketing because I'm working as a marketer to give you the idea. I'm working as a marketer, so shoot, I have an idea. Okay, through talking. It can be talking about the subject you're talking about, but it can also be talking about nothing special, just really just talking about nonsense or the weather or whatever. Because your brain is acting in the background. Talking, we activate creativity in a way, you know, for some people. Creativity, you know, your brain will be activated, active. Why is that? It's because talking makes you think, and your brain, and some people, at least my brain works like that. I cannot just be able to talk about one topic at the same time, at once. You know, I will be talking reptiles with a guy, and in my background, in the background of my head, I will be how am I making my YouTube videos, my marketing, my AI thing. How am I gonna make this new system to me to help me? Blah blah blah. Another big thing, AI. AI is a good thing to help you generate IDs. This whole thing here was created with AI. So the ID generated, the ID content is AI ID. How do you do that? But the AI is not going to come and say, oh yeah, bro, I know you're gonna make this, you need to make it like that, like that, like that. It's not gonna work like this. How is it gonna work? You have to prompt, right? You have, and we're gonna make a whole thing about that later on, you know, but prompt needs to be right. Prompt needs to be at the right timing, at the right moment, for the right person, and you need to be good being good at making prompts. You need to be good, because if you're not, then you don't have IDs, or you have bad IDs, right? This is basically how it works. Okay, so now you know how you make IDs, how you can generate IDs. You know, good. But how do you do to store those IDs? Well, you have multiple ways. You can write, like we do now on this iPad. I can write the IDs. I don't know. YouTube. I want to make a YouTube video about reptiles. Okay, an ID coming in. I want to make a corn snake care guide. Okay, that's an ID. I can write. Okay. Now with the tool we have, and that's very, very cool that we have those tools, is that we can record ourselves. Okay, so you can also record yourself. Whether it's video, whether it's audio. Both works. Some people like to make the audio better because then they can listen to it afterwards. Some people will prefer to make the videos so they can watch because they're more visual people. Okay. So now you know there's not a lot of different ways also. You can also just talk. That's also a thing. You can also just talk. If you have a good memory, you can just talk and then it's coming back afterwards. That's also a possibility. Okay. That's one thing. Another thing now that you can also do, in my opinion, is this. You can, to store those IDs, you can also realize them, if possible, obviously, realize them directly. Because if your ID is right now and you can do it right now, do it, because the problem is, or you can forget it, or you can say, oh no, that's not good. That's not a good ID. And at the end of the day, you don't do it, basically. And if you don't do it, then at some point maybe you will regret it, or maybe you won't, because maybe it was really not a good idea, for example. That's also a possibility. For this part, how do I find IDs? Well, I find IDs through AI, through talking, and watching. Why AI? AI, as I said, AI, the whole idea of this content generation, content creation is AI generated. Why? Because I said, hey, I like to talk. I'll be honest with you, I cannot run a company, cannot run, but I can build it. And I really enjoy to build a company. What can I do? And I have a lot of ideas. What can I do? Well, AI said, what not? And I like to help people. And I like to help people. Well, what AI did say is this. Oh yeah, okay. So maybe you can help people, so technically coach them, as the trend is, coach them to get IDs, right? Okay, that's the one thing. The next thing, how I do it, as I said, was talking. Was talking. Okay, talking. Okay, talking. Again, as I said, talking. What I've already have is this. I'm talking to a person, reptiles, okay? What I'm gonna breed this year, I'm gonna breed my hypocaramel and my normal carpet python. I'm gonna breed my snow corn snakes. I'm gonna breed blah blah blah. Okay. So I have subject 1, and subject 1 is gonna give me, that thing out of nowhere might be giving me the, oh yeah, you know what I'm gonna do for my next AI prompt, because I think I can get an ID from my AI prompting, for the next campaign, for the next social media video, for the next ID or I need for something. Okay, this is a possibility. This is how I do. Talking basically, again, as I said, the whole helping thing, was a talking ID. Through people and through talking with people, I realize I like to help people. Then I go to AI. What do I do? Well, there's one goal, there's one thing. I just need to type the prompt. Okay. And then you have the last thing, visual watching. Watching. How does that watching thing goes? And most of the time, it's not related. Again, you see a video on YouTube, for example, okay, and let's say you see a scene, the way they film a thing, okay. I really like MKBHD's videos to have IDs. Personally, I'm a tech nerd from time to time, so I'm watching MKBHD. And for my reptile content, it gives me idea of how I can film the animals, And this is completely different. It doesn't film animals, but it has a way of filming the tech where you can extract that and make it something for your reptiles, for example. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is you watch IG. It's a brain rot. Doom scrolling is brain rot. It's gonna mess with you a lot, but it can also help you because you can have IDs of subjects, right? It can give you, oh yeah, I like this subject, but I like this subject, but I don't particularly agree with the person talking about it. So I'm gonna make mine. So you make yours, your version of it. Second, it can also, IG will say, you see something lacking, I don't ID content creation. That's an ID content creation, a lack in it. Because everyone says, let's be a millionaire, let's be, creative. But how are you creative? How are you creative? That's a good thing. How are you creative? No one knows. No one tells you. Oh yeah, you need to buy their training for $5,000, and then you might have the idea, and most of the time you don't even have it. Second, the third thing can give you is like, okay, I'm done with doom scrolling. Fuck it. I'm done. I want to do my own thing. So from that, you do your own thing. Okay, this is pretty much how I went from 0 IDs to a lot of IDs. Okay, that's how I store them, and that's where it all comes from. Okay, and now I store them. Now you have to sort them out. You need to sort them out, but that's gonna be for a next video because we're going to a little too deep now into this. So I think we're gonna stop here, and we're gonna call it a day because this is already a lot of information for you. And I want you to drop in the comment section your top 5 best IDs you got from this video. So that was Tenkai. Don't forget, obviously, you can always support me if you want to have more conversation, if you want to have more insights, if you need help, you can always contact me on Instagram, tenkai.11. So that was pretty much it.